So, how many of you were here with me when I made my video about the SEC being one of the best conferences in college football? How many of you complained all season that the SEC had a down year, that the SEC was this, that the SEC was that? Well, surprise, surprise, because I told you then. To play football, you need talented football players. I don't think anybody would disagree with me when I say that the SEC has the most talented football players. They have the most blue chip players. They have the most talented football players. And year after year, they have the most players drafted into the NFL because we all know who is good at football. We all know. We can see it. We can see it. They're moving faster. They're bigger. It's a different football game. So don't convince yourself that it's not different when you absolutely 100% know that it is different. It is different football in the SEC. You know that. If it wasn't, all of these divisions would have more people drafted into the NFL than they do. They don't. The SEC is where the talent is. Not all of the talent. Some of it is sprinkled other places. But the one thing that we do know, the one thing that we can test are how many people get drafted. And year after year after year after year, more people get drafted in the SEC or from the SEC than any other conference. And I'm going to tell you now, the SEC is the best division in college football. They got the most people drafted. And I do want to give a special shout out to my Texas Longhorns, hook 'em, because without the Texas Longhorns, the SEC would absolutely not have the most players drafted in the NFL this year. So I just want to give a shout out to Texas. And although people love to hate Texas, one thing about Texas is helping the SEC. I will also say, if it was not for the Texas Longhorns, the SEC would absolutely not have had the most players drafted. And so I know we want to hate on Texas. I know we want to talk about Texas and act like they're not very good. And I know we want to act like whatever with Texas. But the truth of the matter is, the last 2 consecutive years, Texas has had the most people drafted into the NFL draft. And some people will be like, yeah, but, they have money. Yeah, we have all those things. And we're performing. A lot of times, some people have money and they're not achieving. Some people are achieving and they don't have money. Texas has money and Texas is achieving. That's just what we're doing right now because Texas is back. Texas is hot. People are using Texas for clickbait. I never thought I would see people using Texas as clickbait, but Arch Manning, Texas Longhorns, all these draft picks, all of these things, everyone is waiting for a downfall and everyone is going to get to watch us and see what happens in this season. And I'm excited for that. Don't forget to hit that like button if you haven't already. Don't forget to make sure that you are subscribed to my channel. And if you think about it, turn on those notification bells. And maybe if you want to make me really happy, leave me a comment in the comment section below and let me know what you think about this video. I'm going to go down the list because I took some time to do a little bit of research so that you didn't have to. So at the top of this list, we very much have the SEC at 79, and then we have the Big Ten at 71, and then we have the ACC at 42 and the Big 12 at 31. All the numbers are there right in front of you. You can clearly see who has the most people drafted. You can clearly see that that's the SEC, and you can clearly see the Big 12 has the least amount of people drafted. That is just what it says. I don't know what else to tell you. If you still want to convince yourself that the SEC is not that great and the SEC is this and that and whatever in the third, the NFL has just spoken. If we're going to say the NFL is the goal and the NFL just showed you who they feel like has the better athletes and the most talent, then it is what it is. I know as we head into the offseason, a lot of people are going to start downplaying the SEC again, and you're going to try to make your team seem like it's better than it actually is. I get it. I understand it. However, just remember the NFL is telling you that they would rather have SEC talent over any other conference in college football. That is a fact. We cannot argue with that fact anymore. The other thing that absolutely hasn't changed is players are leaving schools and hoping to go to the SEC. And whenever a team gets an SEC type player, they get excited to have that player on their team. And that tells you, once again, the SEC reigns supreme. People want to play in the SEC. People know that it is big league football. And no matter how you try to spin it, the facts still continue to show that that's just the reality. Something that I did find interesting whenever I was looking at draft data, because I don't really have many opinions about the draft because I don't know. I just don't have any opinions about it. I don't want to dig into it and make opinions just for sake of a video. I don't really have any really good takes or anything about the draft. I mean, I just think obviously the whole Shedeur Sanders thing, but really nothing else surprised me from the draft. It just, it just happened. But I will say something that did surprise me is I was pulling data and I was looking up information. And sorry, there's a loud truck coming. Of course, I'm recording and here comes an 18-wheeler. So one of the things I looked up was how many people that Indiana got drafted and how many people that Michigan got drafted. And I was very surprised to see see these numbers, not because of Michigan or because of Indiana, but because of Maryland. I did not realize that Maryland had so many people drafted. If you go back and look at how many people drafted, Michigan had 7 people drafted, which doesn't come as a surprise to anybody. Indiana had 2 people drafted, which shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody. But looking at Maryland, I was actually surprised that Maryland had that many people drafted, like 6 people drafted off their team. Like, they were phenomenal. They underachieved this year. Like I've said before, the lower teams in the SEC can give a lot of these other teams the business, but because they're in the SEC, because they play stiff competition, their records don't really say how good they are, but the NFL draft is telling you that these teams have players that they want in the NFL. And so whenever we fix ourselves to say, yeah, it's top heavy, it's this, it's that, no. Other teams are good in the SEC. The SEC is a good brand of football. I don't know why that's triggering. I don't know why that's hard to hear. It just is what it is at this point, and I don't know what has to happen for you to believe it, but we've now been through a full year. We've seen the season. We've seen the draft. It just played out how it is, and obviously Texas did help that as well. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. I usually get really excited to make NFL draft videos, but honestly, after all this stuff going around, and I'm exhausted. I don't want to talk about the NFL draft. I don't want to break down the NFL draft because I feel like there's so many things happening right now that I just want to move on and just let it go. The NFL draft was exhausting. Everything after it is just exhausting. The Steelers did whatever. You know what? Texas did really well in the draft. I'll leave it at that. Shador Sanders, all the things. And so I know a lot of people are wondering, like, what does she think about the draft? What is she going to say about the draft? I am not going to talk about the draft extensively because I'm burned out from the draft. Like, it happened. Cool. It happened, and we'll just leave it where it is.
2,000 years later.
This is super random. I was actually walking back through the trail because I walk through a trail and then like pick a spot. So this is a new spot, but I will say it was weird to me that Donovan Edwards didn't get drafted. Was anybody else shocked that Donovan Edwards didn't get drafted? I mean, he was on the cover of the game, and you have Ewers who goes like who almost like didn't get drafted. And then you have Edwards, and he was on the cover of the game. And then obviously Travis Hunter went second. So do we have a college football game curse? Because you know how like that it used to happen in Madden, there's like that Madden curse. Is there a college football 2025 curse? Are we going to talk about that? Anyway, it's just a random thought that I was just thinking about as I was walking back. The truth of the matter is the NFL has spoken. The SEC still remains the top college football conference, and I don't care what you think about it. There's nothing really much you can say at this point. I know a lot of people are going to try to make up stuff and maneuver information and try to go around certain things to make their case and to hope that their team is better than their team actually is. I don't know when as society we started lying to ourselves about our teams, but I really wish that we wouldn't do that. And at this point, if you don't agree with that, then that is a you problem. That is not a me problem. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, and I'll see you in my next video.